What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of The Extra Point. I'm Patrick McCaw. All my co-hosts are here. We've got Rudra, we've got Andrew, and Carter. All right, let's get started this weekend slate. We got the Dolphins' historic blowout against the Broncos, 70-20. What do you guys got?
All I got to say is 726 yards is absurd. I have never seen anything like that. They were just going all over the Broncos. 10.2 yards per play is something I've never heard of. They ran 72 plays, and that's just insane. Like, I don't know how the Broncos are even still in the NFL after that one.
I would just say like 70-20 is kind of wild. How do you lose 50 points by 50? I mean, just wrapping my head around that 50-point loss, 70-20, and I think it could have been the most points scored if they decided to kick that field goal. And just something like that is just absolutely wild. It's defeating too. I don't know if you guys saw in the locker rooms after the press conferences with the Broncos players, but Garrett Bowles is like, I've been here for 7 years and all I've done is lose. So
I mean,
this takes the life out of players, something like this.
I don't even know. People were saying that the Broncos defense is good. Uh, yes, it is. It has Pat Surtain. It has some pieces, obviously, but I think this speaks more volume to what the heck are the Dolphins building? I don't know. Someone let Mike McDaniel cook, and he is cooking. Oh my God, I don't know what he's doing with that offense, but it is working.
Did
I
you
don't
all see
know.
that? Oh,
I
did y'all
don't know why the NFL hasn't adopted this before, but what the Dolphins are building, they're just taking the league's fastest players. That's all they're doing, and no one can stop it. I don't know why it hasn't happened before, but Tyreek Hill is unstoppable. They don't even have Jalen Waddle out there yet. They got Devon, what's it, Achan?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Devon
51,
Achan.
51 fantasy points. That's absurd. You could put anyone in that backfield that runs a 4.35, and they're gonna get 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, they almost had two running backs combined for 100 fantasy points. Raheem Mostert also scored 45. And having a 31-year-old running back, you do not expect him to be this good, but he has started this season unbelievably with 6 to 7 rushing touchdowns already. And he is the fastest running back in the league. And it really shows. And that's what the Dolphins are doing. But did y'all see that Mike McDaniels was the old Broncos water boy or something?
Yeah, he was the ball
Yeah,
boy.
yeah, yeah.
The ball boy, yeah. And
It's a revenge game.
it really was.
That's the biggest get back of the century.
Yeah, and they wouldn't even interview him when he was looking for a coaching vacancy.
Yeah.
It was so
They
disrespectful.
probably feel dumb now.
On them. Yeah, I know.
So real quick, this is just via some site, but I'm not sure how they rank it, but Tua 28 points, Devon Achane 49 points, Raheem Mostert 41 points, Tyreek Hill 26 points. I don't know. That's crazy. It's crazy to me. 40 plus for 2 running backs.
At the end of the season, can we be talking about this Dolphins offense as the greatest offense of all time?
I think
realistically,
it's possible. I don't know if Randy Moss and Brady can be beat, but it's possible.
That's true.
I
think Tua stays healthy.
I think Tua is a lock for MVP.
Oh,
a lock.
That's
a lock with how they've been playing and with how the receivers get open every play. All he has to do is throw with anticipation, and they're running for 30 yards upfield every single play.
But if Tyreek gets 2,000 yards, how do you not give it to Tyreek?
What if 2 guys get 2,000 yards in one season? Jefferson and him are on a similar pace.
Yeah, no, I think they will.
That's true.
I thought about that too. What if a guy gets 2,000 yards? I'm like, it could be Jefferson and Tyreek this year.
Well, if you're going off MVP, it's definitely not going to be Jefferson just based off of team record.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, listen, you know who technically has the most passing yards? It's not technically he does, has the most passing yards and touchdowns in the league is Kirk, and they're 0-3. But we're not talking about
future New York Jet, Kirk Cousins.
He'll never be a Jet.
That's some story. But what's it called? So then, based on what you guys said, my question is: do you think Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson is better?
I think Tyreek. I think his short area quickness is just absurd. He can get in and out of the break at an insane speed. And then when he gets the ball, he goes upfield at also an insane speed. Did you see he should have cut the ball inside on his 56-yard touchdown, but instead he just ran the sideline because there was no chance the safety was even cutting off the angle.
Yeah.
He's just insanely fast. And having a guy that fast, like he's going to be the best, like the best skill player in the NFL, no matter what, as long as he can get open and catch the ball.
I'll give Tyreek Hill speed, like 110%. That's an obvious. But Justin Jefferson does things I've never seen in the NFL, and it's at a historic pace. This isn't even his prime yet. He's been doing this the second he got into the league. He's only 24 years old. And this isn't to knock Tyreek Hill. I think it's fine to have them 1A and 1B. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if I had to make my pick, and yeah, obviously there's some bias behind it, I would say it's Jefferson. I think Jefferson single-handedly carried that Vikings team last year to a 13-4 record. I'll never forget that Buffalo Bills game where he made that catch. 0% of players, 0.1% make that catch. He does. He's the only guy who makes a catch like that. I watch games. It was the Eagles game. KJ Osborne gets wide open for a touchdown. Jefferson's running his route. He gets bracketed with 3-4 defenders, Eagles, on him in the end zone. Players of that caliber, just they're so 1%. It's like they don't even exist. They're like once in every blue moon. And to start like he did in his career, just to be elite right away. And he's been an all-pro every single year of his career. He's just absolutely phenomenal. But I do think Tyreek Hill is definitely, 1B in my opinion. It's hard to not acknowledge the fact of what he's doing, especially his connection with Tua. It's legit, and it has to be respected.
I think if you're talking who's the best receiver in the league, skill-wise, I have to go Justin Jefferson. But if I'm like just plopping one of those guys on a team and who would be like the bigger game changer, that has to be Tyreek. Like no corner has like been able to stop Tyreek Hill so far. And I've seen Jay Jettas get stopped before. Darius Slay, firsthand. I've seen it happen. I've never seen.
I saw Tyreek get stopped. I saw him get stopped last week by a rookie corner on the Patriots.
Yeah, he actually did.
And Jefferson got back.
Gonzo Hall of Famer coming up. Don't worry.
Jefferson got back at Darius Slay. Like
he did. I'm not saying he
100% cooked him.
Yeah, but I'm saying like from, let's say, a team building wise, I would take Tyreek just based off of the defense always has to respect his speed. They can't load up the box. That's why those running backs are succeeding so much. Because if they load up the box, Tyreek's is going to destroy you. So go ahead.
Imagine if Tyreek Hill still was given punt returner nods. How many?
Yeah.
Would he have a year? How many would he have a year?
At least 2 or 3, I think.
Yeah.
I would think like 2. 2's reasonable.
I'd say 2.
Who let him drop to the 5th round?
A lot of guys.
I just don't understand that. Like
same people who let Justin Jefferson drop below Jalen Reagor.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I'll never forget that. There's a video of the Vikings coaches when that happened. They're like, Jalen Reagor was just drafted over Jefferson, and they're laughing and like high-fiving each other like over Zoom. I can't get over how that happened.
Hey, at least the Eagles got a draft pick out of it when they traded him to the Vikings.
Right. Most players are projected to get 2,400 plus yards if they continue at their pace right now. There's
no way
yards.
that's going to stand.
Right.
They're not
happening.
400 plus yards within the first 3 games of the season.
How much is Puka Nacua expected to get?
Probably Puka is at 300 in the first 3, so 1,800.
Yeah.
So, but again,
he's going to slow down when Cooper Kupp comes back.
He'll probably slow down.
It's not crazy with the Puka talk.
Too, though. I mean, like that was. Yeah. They had Tutu Atwell when they won the Super Bowl, and like he just wasn't doing anything on the roster. And now all of a sudden, Kupp's out, and they're incorporating him, and he's just playing very well.
He is good.
Another one of those speed guys. That's all you really need in the NFL, I guess. Just be able to run by guys.
Yeah.
The league's moving towards that. I have one more question about this. Who do you think that Tua is going to overtake Mahomes?
No.
For what, face of the league?
No. But in terms of like who's going to play better this season, do you think Tua's going to take?
I think
over
on the stat
Mahomes?
sheet. I think on the stat sheet, Tua will have better stats when the season ends. But I think Patrick Mahomes is definitely the much better talent. Just has insane arm talent, improv skills. Like Tua just throws with really impressive anticipation that you don't see often, but he can't really extend plays like Mahomes can, and that's why Mahomes will always be.
Yeah, I mean, stat sheet's going to look like Tua's the better player, but Patrick Mahomes is going to have to carry that team with the wide receivers. The offense looked a lot better this week, but I still have no faith in his wide receiving core besides Travis. So I mean, is he going to overtake him? No, but his stats will probably look like he did.
Well,
Yeah.
right now the MVP odds are plus 350 for Tua and plus 500 for Mahomes, and PFF has Tua graded higher than Mahomes. So
It's not
some
gonna last.
people don't agree.
I don't think it lasts. It's week 3. Pat Mahomes is the most talented player I've ever seen at the position.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that it's gonna last. I feel like
You think Mahomes is more talented than Vic was when he was playing?
yes, 100%.
More
I
talent
don't
on
know
the
if I
field?
agree with that one. Michael Vick.
Oh, way more talent.
No,
Way more talented.
no.
No, I don't
Michael
think
Vick-
so.
Michael
Vick
Vick
is-
is-
Wait. We talking
fast.
Tyreek?
What?
Tyreek or Patrick? Which one?
No,
Patrick
Michael,
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes and Michael
Oh,
Vick.
then the Michael Vick. Yeah, I'm taking Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes arm
Really, in
talent
terms of
is one one.
skill.
Yeah, skill.
Yeah. Vic
Mike-
has better athleticism, but not skill.
Yeah,
No,
if
but
we're talking
Vic-
athleticism, sure. Yes, that
I
Vic's-
count
no, Vic-
athleticism as a skill.
Vic's arm is extremely underrated. He can drop bombs, but
Vic's
Mahomes has
arm
done
was a
things no
cannon.
other quarterback has ever done.
You want to know why he's so good, and that's why a lot of NFL quarterbacks are so good. Is they have a history of baseball, so they have a lot of range and motion in their arms. You see guys like Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady. These guys all played baseball, so like the range of motion in their arms, they're just able to get the ball out in certain spots, and it's wild. Like it definitely plays a factor, and that's why I think Mahomes is so good. His dad was a pro ball player.
And they change their arm motions all the time, their arm slots. They drop it down, they drop it up, like they just change it all the time based on where like the defender is in front of them to get the ball around them.
Well, I'm pretty sure Mahomes played a couple games at Texas Tech baseball wise,
He
right?
did, yeah.
So he's legit.
Yeah. So speaking about the Chiefs, let's talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. What do y'all think of that?
When I tell
I
you
wanna
that
talk
Taylor Swift news is by far the most annoying news possible. I like Taylor Swift. I was at her concert with my girlfriend. It was fun, but don't get involved in football. Why is the NFL talking about Taylor Swift? Why are you dropping tweets about Taylor Swift? I don't care. Tell me about the NFL, please.
I was scrolling on
Yeah.
my page and that's all I saw.
I just want to say something that I saw with Taylor Swift and Pat Mahomes, and this is gonna just blow your mind. This is on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I stumble upon a girl. Just she has like this wheel of it's like the birth chart of like what is it, your signs and all that, and she's like trying to figure out when Travis Kelce, like what time he was born, so she could figure out how compatible Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are. Like these are the fans, like these are the Taylor Swift fans, and they're now meshing in with NFL fans who watch football. Like these fans are just so polar opposites. I just think that's just crazy to think about. There's people who are like doing stuff like this. Like if that's what you want to do, cool, go for it. But I just think that's just a crazy mix of two separate worlds just colliding.
Do you know how much money the league is making off of this, though? Travis Kelce's
That's true.
jerseys went up 400% on
Really?
the NFL
Oh
shop.
my god!
And I thought they were already high because he's one of the most loved players in the league. And
He
going up
definitely
100%
is. But the Swifties are for real. I guess.
Swifties are real fans. Oh my god, they're insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought doing an NFL podcast would make me talk about Taylor Swift for 5 minutes.
If they're happy and
here we are.
going well, then good for them. Because I mean, I ain't gonna hate on them. I mean, bro has a dog in him. Obviously, that's Taylor Swift.
But who
All right,
knows
but I
the
did
actual storyline? Like he
Yeah.
first says on his podcast, he goes, "Oh, I shot my shot." He shot his shot. She's in the box with his mom. Literally 2 weeks later at his game. And then did you see the car they drove off in? It was like the most high school love story car ever. It was like,
It's like
it
Grease.
was like all of her songs they were probably playing her songs in that car because she has a song called Getaway Car Love Story, and that literally explained that exact same situation they were in.
But I'll tell you the
Is
reason
Andrew
why.
a Swiftie? What is this?
Andrew might be a Swiftie.
A little bit.
All right, let me tell you the reason why I'm like okay with the NFL being all about Swift and Kelce. So I don't know if you guys know this. Swiftie, she's from Pennsylvania. She's always a big Eagles fan. Always a big Eagles fan. So now that she's all wearing the Chiefs gear, it's making us Eagles fans think there might be a little infiltration going on, just in case there's a little rematch happening in the Super Bowl this year. So, by the time Super Bowl's happening, she's going to be doing another tour, and she's going to break his heart, and then he's not going to be able to play in the Super Bowl.
That
You know what Kelce Swift relationship matters most? Which one matters most? It's Jason Kelce blocking for DeAndre Swift. That's the Kelce relationship
Yeah,
we should all be caring about.
yeah.
I
You saw
agree.
that because Taylor Swift was in the box at Kelsey's game, people were making bets on Kelce and Swift both having good games, and it made DeAndre Swift perform well. He had like 130 yards again, so like maybe this is going to be good for DeAndre Swift, not Taylor Swift. So that's going to be interesting to see.
This is the stupidest talk I've
It
ever
is.
had about the NFL topic.
Yeah, this is a real football conversation we're having. Taylor
I
Swift
saw-
influencing DeAndre Swift.
I saw on Instagram, they're like when they break, not when or if they break up, she's gonna make a song. It's gonna be called Travesty.
Oh my god.
So
That's
if that song comes out, we know who that's about.
Right.
All I know is Taylor Swift's known for one thing. That's breaking hearts. So Travis better watch out.
I
Well,
think
feel
the
like- I
league
feel like
better
they're
watch out if
breaking
that
her heart.
happens.
I feel like they're breaking her heart.
I guess that's why the songs are made. Yeah.
I mean, he's Andrew seems to be a Swiftie.
And-
No, Taylor's getting her heart broken. It's like
Yeah.
the way around.
Andrew is a Swiftie, but Rudra was the one at a concert. So
I was. That's true.
So
We got-
those
we
are
got
some
two Swifties in
expensive
there.
tickets.
Yeah, they were, but they sold for quite a bit, so we
Yeah,
we made the money back.
I couldn't afford them.
can we get back to the NFL? I'm done with
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
All right.
We had three pretty big upsets this week. The Cowboys finally come down to earth a little bit in Arizona. Josh Dobbs. Is Josh Dobbs legit?
I think so. I'm not gonna lie. I think so. He's giving me like a Geno Smith type story. I'm not gonna lie. He's got some good speed on him. He's a daredevil. Who sees him try to run over linebackers like 3 times a game? Like he took
Over
one
Micah
2 weeks
Parson.
ago. Like he's good. He can really scramble, and he has a nice arm. He throws an accurate ball, and like that's really all you need as a quarterback. My hot take is, I feel like the Cardinals should trade away Kyler and stick with Dobbs
For the future.
for the future.
How old is
Even if-
Dobbs?
Future. He's like
Dobbs is-
26.
Yeah, he's not.
He's
not old.
26.
He's
What?
young.
Yeah, he's not old.
He's been in the league for like 4 or 5 years, I think, though.
Yeah, he's 28. He's 28.
Okay, but even if Caleb Williams is a potential like person the Cardinals can get in the draft, you would stick with Dobbs.
No. I would take Caleb Williams.
Okay.
I just don't think Kyler Murray's that good.
Who would take that contract though that Kyler signed? He's already got,
Yeah.
the fact that
The,
he's.
the Jets probably would right now.
The Jets would.
Yeah, that's true.
But would Kyler want to sit a year behind Rodgers, who's also extended with the Jets? That's in
I
a
mean,
very
he-
expensive room. That who's going to be able to afford that?
Well,
I mean,
here,
but who-
let's see this. Say we get the Jets, who are quite obviously in need of a quarterback, and we take the Cardinals, who might want to roll with Josh Dobbs. Let's roll with Andrew's theory. What would that trade look like if they want to give Kyler Murray to the Jets? What would they want back?
I feel like they would have to ask for at least a first round pick.
2 firsts, probably.
2 firsts and a third.
But I wouldn't give that up for Kyler Murray.
I
Yeah,
also
just
would
Coming off
not.
a torn
The Bears
ACL.
gave that up for hoping Justin Fields was going to be the real deal. They
Yeah.
gave up,
I
like,
mean,
first and a third to move up in the draft. Like, oh my god.
with the offense the Jets has, it's not terrible to try to like risk it to try to get something, because that offense with Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson had like 6 receptions or something for some like 46, 45 yards, something like that. And if they're able to do that with Zach Wilson, and he's obviously getting open and he's playing well, someone like Kyler's quite obviously better than Zach Wilson. So what are they going to be able to do with him, especially with that defense? Kyler doesn't even have to play great. He can go the Deshaun Watson route where you play mid and you still win because your defense is so overpowering.
If they had like a mediocre quarterback, the Jets would be a 10-win team.
Absolutely.
Zach Wilson is just so bad.
I feel like they should. They got Trevor Simeon, which that's cool, I guess. I feel like they should really be trying to target like a Gardner Minshew or a Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, speaking
Yeah.
of Gardner Minshew, that's
Yeah.
for
What
sure.
a
Speaking of
beast.
Gardner Minshew, the Ravens owner.
No, okay.
Ooh.
Okay, that's a little bit of a stretch.
I'm kidding. I'm messing.
A
I'm
little bit of
messing.
a stretch. Wait,
You know
back,
the refs had a little impact.
back to the Jets though. Do you think Tyler Huntley being their quarterback would make them a 10-win team?
He's a Walmart clone of Lamar.
I mean-
There's a chance.
Was a Pro Bowler.
I guess so.
He won the AFC passing precision.
I
I
think
don't know.
not 10, maybe 8. 8 wins.
Yeah.
Huntley's got.
I think it would be an upgrade over Zach. I'm gonna be
Oh
honest.
yeah, I agree. But
Wait, while we're on Zach Wilson, do you guys want to do the game?
Yeah, we might as well at this
why
point.
not? We're
Yeah. All right. So who would you rather, Zach Wilson edition? All right, guys. So this is like as of today, everyone in their current state today, not like who they were in the past, right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you rather, Zach Wilson or Andy Dalton?
Andy
Andy
Dalton.
Dalton.
Andy Dalton,
Clean sweep. Case Keenum.
Yes.
Case Keenum,
Zach Wilson.
Probably Case Keenum.
Joshua Dobbs.
Dobbs.
Joshua
Dobbs.
Dobbs. Oh my
Dobbs.
God. The dog.
Dobbs turning heads this year. All right.
Yeah.
Current state, Cam Newton.
Zach Wilson.
Cam. Well, listen, I don't, dude. I'd say Cam Newton. I'd say
I feel like they're on a similar tier. That one's actually a good one. I feel like they're
Oh,
on the
man.
same tier.
I think that's disrespectful to Cam.
Get out of here.
I think that's disrespectful.
That's
The current
disrespectful to
state,
Zach
Cam?
Wilson.
I know. What has Zach Wilson shown you at all? Like literally anything? Like name one quality. Like, and this is.
They had a great
Can I be
preseason
honest?
If Zach
drought.
Wilson
Can I-
sees this, I'm sorry to rag on you, but what has he like shown you? Like what?
Okay.
He had a good
skills
pro
set
day.
has
Can
he
I be
shown?
honest? It's pro day, bro. It's literally the pro day. It's literally the pro day.
That's why he got drafted his pro day. That's why he got drafted.
Yes, but his arm talent looked so good there. I've never seen him throw a pass over 55 yards in the NFL. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like in his pro day, if he's rolling out left, throwing across his body an accurate ball 65 yards downfield, why can't he even throw just a regular go ball 50 yards down the sideline to Garrett Wilson? That's what I don't understand. And like I'm struggling to understand that, but
at all.
That video makes me distrust pro days now.
I do
Oh,
think Zach Wilson is better right now than Cam Newton. Cam
I'm
Newton.
thinking
Okay. Let's go next one. Current state, Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Oh, Matt Ryan for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Obviously not looking at the past, but he has the experience.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This might be a controversial one, but I feel like Carson Wentz.
Oh my God,
Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Zach Wilson.
Oh my
Really?
God.
I just think what the Jets need Zach Wilson to do is just find open receivers. Carson Wentz is going to try to gunsling too much. Zach Wilson played well against the Cowboys if you really watch the game.
You gotta
He
get Zach
played well.
Wilson some glasses if he's gonna find receivers because he hasn't found any yet.
Okay, but Zach Wilson played well against the Cowboys with the Jets defense against the Cowboys offense. Having 10 points in the first half isn't so bad. And then once they were down 17, that's when he really started throwing his picks because he's just started forcing the ball downfield, which is what you have to do down 17. So I really think Zach Wilson is serviceable at this point in his career right now.
Andrew's a
I
big
think-
Zach Wilson guy.
I think Zach and Justin Fields are in a similar situation where
That's my
They're-
next one.
oh
All right, let's do it. Justin Fields.
Fields.
Wilson.
No way.
Wilson.
I don't know. I need to be swayed. I need to hear you guys'
Okay,
thoughts.
this is why I want to talk about it because Zach Wilson and Fields, I feel like they're in similar spots, and it's I
I
feel
would
like
say
the Jets-
Wilson actually.
I feel
Go
like the Jets. Oh no way! I feel like the Jets and the Bears are both. Yes, these guys have Super Bowls, and even other organizations that don't have Super Bowls are way better run than any of the Jets or the Chicago Bears. I don't think a Super Bowl necessarily defines an entire organization structure. It defines a certain period in their, timeline as an organization. But current day, the Jets and Bears are run very poorly, and they always feel like they're looking for a quarterback. There's a reason for that. It's because they're run poorly. The people up top don't know what they're doing. The 49ers are run very well. They made a mistake with Trey Lance. They knew they did, and they moved off from him. The Jets and the Bears can't ever do that. The Jets realize that was a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You know, they were expecting him to play the whole year, obviously. But why not get someone behind him if you know what Zach Wilson is? Why not?
They put Zach Wilson behind him. That's why.
That's not enough, though. If you know he's not good. And then Justin Fields, if you are worried that, hey, maybe this guy doesn't pan out, get a serviceable backup or something. And then he's got the pieces around him now. But
I think Nick Foles is still on the Bears, isn't he?
Who?
He's retired now. Nick Foles. Is he still on the Bears?
No, he's done. He's done. I think that coaching staff for both teams just don't understand these young quarterbacks at all and just expected them to just flourish right away. Like you saw Justin Fields improved in year 2, and now he just stinks. He's even worse with DJ Moore and other pieces around him. And then Zach Wilson just has gotten no improvement whatsoever. These guys, I feel like Justin Fields said, a lot of it's on coaching. And he says that as in like the coaching's bad, but I also feel like it's like, let me do my thing. Maybe let Zach Wilson do his thing and see what it does. You don't have anything to lose. Why not? Why not let him do his thing? And if his thing clearly isn't working out, then you realize just there's nothing there.
Well, talking about those two quarterbacks, I feel like they haven't – like I feel like Zach Wilson, he's not the type of quarterback where they're like let him do his thing. Like he's just like a pocket passer. Like he has some scrambling ability, but he has good receivers and he has the green light to throw it downfield if he wants. Justin Fields, they've been letting him do his thing as well. And he started rolling out a lot more against the Chiefs, and he just can't play football. It's really hard to watch him.
That's why I'm taking Wilson.
Yeah, it's hard to watch him. Like it's less hard to watch Zach Wilson than hard to watch Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I tuned into the game. He's 4 for 12 with 40 yards in the pick. I'm like, dude, you were talking about how like it's gonna be better this week. Like, and it was just hard to watch him play.
Yeah, we'll let Carter take Zach Wilson for a turn. How about Nathan Peterman? Any shot?
No. Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson over Nathan Peterman.
Zach Wilson, yeah.
All right, this is. I think this is a good one. Taylor Heineke.
I would take Heineke. Heineke was very good for a while. He had the Commanders on a roll.
I think they're similar players in a way. They're both pretty small, but they both like have some improbability and they both have big arms.
Well, Heineke's just more reliable.
Heineke's arm's not that big.
Doesn't need to be on the Jets, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think this guy was Zach Wilson's backup last year, Mike White.
Zach Wilson.
Mike White. He played better than Wilson when he was in. He did.
He played better for like 2. That's like saying Bailey Zappi's better than Mac Jones.
Can you name one game Zach Wilson's played good? I'm being serious. Can you name one?
I'm going to look right now.
I remember he had a good game last year and like week.
Carter, your face when you said that was hilarious.
He's like Googling Zach Wilson highlights. You know what you're going to find? His pro day. You're going to find his pro day.
Wait, I'm about to find this. I'm about to get right. Oh, sadly, I can't find it. Oh.
No highlights found.
Hall of Fame game. Zach Wilson looks decent. Hall of Fame game. It's crazy. Yeah,
I'm sure there's more Zach Wilson lowlights and highlights on YouTube.
All right, guys, we got 2 more. All right, you have to think of all the baggage that comes with this one. Colin Kaepernick.
Kaepernick hasn't played in how many years?
Oh my God, I was gonna ask.
But he's ready.
No, I honestly think Kaepernick might be better. I was actually gonna ask if I could ask one when you're done with the segment, and I was gonna be like, "Hey, what do you guys think about Colin Kaepernick?" But I think he's honestly been ready. I think Kaepernick can play football, and maybe it's just buzz, but I genuinely would give him a shot if I were the Jets.
Andrew, right now, go Google type Colin Kaepernick's stats in his last season playing.
2-win team.
Google it. Please look at his stats. They're awful.
Wait, were they?
Yeah, they're really
very bad.
There's a reason he's not in the NFL. It's not for politics.
Wait, I found one. Zach Wilson.
Found a highlight.
Zach Wilson versus New England. October 30th, 2022.
I know what you're looking at, but he had
355 yards. Oh, the picks aren't listed.
Yeah, 3 picks.
Forget about them. Those don't count.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He did have a game where his highest QB rating, 101.1 against the Buffalo Bills. This was November 6th of last year,
Yep,
18 for
18 for
25,
25.
154 yards and a touchdown. That says a lot.
Wow.
He did literally nothing,
23
and that was his highest rating.
23 for 38, 226, and 2 touchdowns December 5th, 2021 against the Eagles. So why is he only good against good defenses?
He's not.
He's
I know.
not.
I don't.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Aaron Rodgers with one Achilles.
Aaron,
Give me Aaron Rodgers with a messed up shoulder and his throwing arm. I'd take it
Yeah.
over Wilson.
Put him in a little wheelchair and have one of the offensive linemen, or like a tight end or something, like wheel him to the
him
side
around.
if someone's coming around, and then I'd still take him.
You ever see Odell
All right.
Beckham Jr. throw a football? I'll take that over Zach Wilson.
That's true.
What about Keenan Allen? Who saw that little nice throw?
Yeah.
I'd like to forget
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, but I did see it.
Okay, wait. Last one. Wait, actually 2. Kendall Hinton or Zach?
Stop. No. Okay.
I don't even know who that is.
No, I know.
Wait.
That's the guy the Broncos put in the COVID game.
Wait. Okay, last one. This guy played quarterback in high school. Julian Edelman.
I knew he.
That's
Right
I was gonna say I would take Edelman in a heartbeat. That he
I
was
think I would take
he was
Edelman,
very
honestly.
good. He was I think he played QB one time when they were out of all their starters. I think there was
Yeah,
a game
he's
like
the
that.
emergency quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Edelman and Wildcat maybe would. That's interesting.
It's still a better offense than
Yeah.
at least
Honestly,
Brees Hall's
Brees-
getting the ball.
Brees Hall and Wildcat would be really good.
Christian McCaffrey from the NFC Championship game.
I can't believe that happened. I still can't believe that happened.
Okay, let's move on. Although Andrew has turned out to be a big Zach Wilson guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like it.
We got to get you a jersey.
32nd ranked quarterback by PFF, but okay.
There's 32.
All right, do you guys want to talk about how
If
the
the
Jags
Jets make
have
the
not?
playoffs, I will buy a Zach Wilson jersey.
Say again.
If the Jets make the playoffs, I will buy a Zach Wilson jersey.
You
I'm
heard
marking
it
it down
here.
right here.
Making all the bets. All right, you guys want to talk about how the Jags have not looked good so far against the
Yeah.
Chiefs too?
Yeah, like their first week of the season, I immediately said I think Trevor Lawrence is going to win MVP. Calvin Ridley looked like he was going to be a really good wide receiver, 8 receptions, 102 yards, and a touchdown. And then I don't know what happened, but how do you lose by 20 to the Texans at home? Like Trevor Lawrence
CJ
is
Stroud's been looking good, but
No.
still the Texans.
but it's also the offense. Like, how are you only scoring 17 points? Like, you're a generational talent at quarterback. You have 2 really good wide receivers in Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. Why can't you get them the ball? Also, Evan Ingram really showed out last year as a tight end. Like, you have the weapons, you have the quarterback, you have the offense. So why can't you make it work? And only scoring 17 points and 9 points the week before, it's really hard to watch them.
I think Jacksonville and the Texans game. I think it speaks more volume on the Houston Texans than what Jacksonville is doing. I had my doubts with CJ Stroud. I really did. I thought he was easily the biggest boomer bust, and I was leaning towards bust because there's that stigma with Ohio State quarterbacks. And Stroud looks great. He looks great, and all props to him. I mean, I don't want anyone to fail in the NFL. I mean, these are young men, and they're just looking to succeed and have a career. So I don't wish upon failure, but I was leaning towards the side of I'm thinking this guy's not going to pan out, especially in Houston, which I think most people thought was the worst situation for any of the young quarterbacks. But DeMeco Ryans seems to have coached up a pretty decent squad for what it's worth. Tank Dell looks good with CJ Stroud. And then going to the other side of the field with Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, I think will be okay. It's week 3, or now will be week 4. A lot of teams start off slow. That's just how things happen. Remember Jacksonville last year? Started off really slow, then made their way into the playoffs off that big win streak and won their division and won a playoff game. I say we just give Jacksonville some time. We give Trevor Lawrence some time, and I think they're going to respond back in a big way. And I feel like they're definitely going to win their game this upcoming week.
So with the Jags, I don't think at all. Obviously, I don't think Trevor's the issue. I don't think many people do think he's the issue. I think it was just an off game. I'm gonna be honest. I think it was just an off game. The Cowboys, I don't think so. Ravens, I don't think so. Both, Ravens, I do think they just had to go to competition, go against them. But Jags, I think it was just straight up an off game.
Ravens got hosed by the refs. They
You can
got
go right into the Ravens.
They did a little bit.
Okay, wait. So let me
a
start.
lot of it. They would have won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it.
we'll let
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 Andrew
Andrew
take
get
over.
his rant about the Ravens.
And
out.
to start this like topic, let me ask you this. Who has ever heard of 11 starters getting injured in the first 3 weeks? Have you heard
Ravens
of that
last year.
any team? Yeah, the Ravens last year. There's something with our strength and conditioning that just doesn't work out, and I don't even know what it is. And I don't even think it's that we don't have turf fields because we have grass. Like, so I don't get the issue with like why we get hurt so much, but just like watching that game, the Ravens were unstoppable drive 1, unstoppable drive 2. Kenyon Drake fumbles in his first touch with the Ravens this season. That really just swayed the entire game. The Ravens couldn't get the ball back on the Colts side of the field. We went 3 and out like 3 times in a row. It was really just difficult to watch the offense. And Todd Monken, he just wasn't able to make the adjustments he needed to make at halftime. And the Ravens up 17-16. They have an easy win. They force what looks like a defensive touchdown, but they called Gardner Minshew. He stepped out. So it's 19-16. All the Ravens have to do is get 1 first down. And what do? They run 2 plays to Melvin Gordon. They go for nowhere. And it was just like really bad coaching because Zay Flowers on the safety punt, he fair caught it. So they still have the 2-minute warning. If he catches that ball, runs it for 4 seconds, then gets tackled, the Ravens win that game. Same as if the ref called a flag on the face mask on 3rd and 9 that gave the Colts the ball back. The Ravens win that game. And then same as in overtime on 4th and 3 on the 47-yard line to get into field goal range, they go for it, and he's tackled early on Zay Flowers once again, and the Ravens win that game. And so it wasn't just the refs. The offense was really bad. The defense was the only reason why the Ravens stayed in it, but it was just rough. But it definitely does have to do with the injuries, and the Ravens still win that game, even with all those injuries, if one of those 2 calls are called. So I don't think you can really say the Ravens played that bad. Their defense was lights out.
They weren't bad.
Yeah.
I don't have any hope lost with Baltimore besides, players getting injured, which obviously you have no control over. I think the reffing, definitely hurt them at the end. That Zay Flowers no call in overtime, that's insane to me. I mean, that's so blatant of a pass interference, and the tackle's so early. He had no chance whatsoever to get that ball in his hands. And the Ravens win that game if that doesn't happen. And the reason why I think it's such a cause for concern is like, oh, you don't care too much. It's one game. It's one game at home. And not only that, your division's stacked. This is Cincinnati, who's, been not that great, but still solid. Pittsburgh, 2-1, and then Cleveland, 2-1. So now you're also 2-1, and it would have been huge to have that extra game over, the 2 teams behind you.
And who was shocked when Justin Tucker missed a 61-yarder short?
I was.
That
was something.
I thought that was
Is he not the best kicker in the league now this year? Not like all time.
I think it's time that Justin Tucker is dethroned.
It's not Jake Elliott. So
what?
It is Jake Elliott.
No, Justin Tucker's
I don't
Dude,
think
look at
it's
their
Jake
side-by-side stats.
Justin
Jake Elliott has
Tucker
better stats than Justin Tucker.
Okay, but Justin Tucker's missed 2 field goals this year. One was 59 yards, one was 61.
And Jake Elliott made his 61-yarder. He
That's
had the
a fair
leg
point.
for it.
It's hard to
Tucker didn't have the leg.
It's hard
Can
to
I real
kick a
quick-
61-yard field goal in the rain and wind in M&T Bank Stadium.
Can I go back to that injury problem that the Ravens were having? There's this thing that NFL players do each year called the NFL player team report cards where they like rate their teams. And so we have I'm looking at the strength staff ratings. Every team is like an A, B+, B. There are 2 teams that are under the grade of a B. The Atlanta Falcons with a D- and the Baltimore Ravens with an F- graded by their team.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Read the number 1 organization in the NFL rated by players.
The Vikings.
It could be.
Let me look.
It's the Vikings. That's the only reason why he wants you to say it.
Wait, by what category?
by,
Oh,
by overall.
yeah, overall.
I didn't know. I don't think there's an overall ballot.
It's
It's the Vikings. So
the Vikings. Yeah.
It
But
might be. Yeah.
Well,
like Disneyland, but in Minnesota.
hey, the
But,
Vikings can have that, but they're 0-3. So
You know what? We can get to that right now. Actually, do we
wait,
want to?
last thing
Oh,
about the Ravens.
Oh wow, you're right. Actually,
So-
A minus, A plus, A plus, A plus, A plus. I would say Vikings.
So last thing about the Ravens, right? They play the Browns in Cleveland and then the Steelers right after. What do y'all see them going in those two games?
I think
We may get some people back. We may get some people back.
I think they'll probably split. I think they'll probably beat the Steelers, but I think the Browns will get them.
I'm going to that game. Really need a win.
Browns game.
Yeah, really need a win. I'm going to Cleveland. Really need a win.
That Cleveland game would be. It's tough because that defense is. It's really good. Miles, how are your tackles? How is your tackles in your offensive line?
It's a good question. Ronnie Stanley injured. Morgan Moses went down.
Miles
Tyler
Garrett's
Boyd's out.
gonna eat Lamar alive.
It's just hard. But personally, I've been to one away game in my life. It was also in Cleveland. It was 2 years ago, and it was the day Lamar Jackson got injured.
Ooh,
Maybe
Going
don't
back
do
to the
that.
game.
Monday,
Going back
a
there.
Monday night game.
I don't remember. It might
Jalen
have.
Hurts got sick, so like, the streak's still alive.
Is the streak still? I was gonna say that. Was it broken? or
Jalen
did
Hurts
something
had a
happen?
flu last night, so I guess if you want to count that,
I don't think I would
I
count.
thought someone got hurt. Didn't that
not career ending.
well,
or
not
season
really.
ending.
I think I thought no, I'm thinking of something else. Never
Who
mind.
saw Nick Chubb's like positive diagnosis? Only
Yeah, there's
that's
no way
awesome.
that's true. He
Yeah.
like tore his MCL.
Yeah,
that's
that's it.
cap.
Nick Chubb is not human. I'm convinced.
I thought he broke his fibula.
I thought he broke his whole entire leg.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
That
the
was wild.
that's
I
the
thought
bone.
his knee was like torn apart. Like
Yeah.
I'm glad. So he's gonna be okay.
obviously, yeah.
So
I have something I want to bring up. Like, out of these three teams, I would consider them the teams are like sneaky good. Who do you think has the best shot at making the playoffs this year? The Cardinals, Texans, or the Colts?
Texans.
Colts.
Cardinal.
I went
Wow, every single team got picked. I
'Cause,
think I would go with the Colts when
Yeah, because Anthony
there's-
Richardson looks really good, and they have a legitimate defense and a like very good like coach, the
Yeah.
Eagles offensive coordinator. Like he
No,
looks
he's
like
legit.
very good. So I would.
he's just
say
a game
probably
changer
Colts.
too.
Yeah.
I think they're more ready for a playoff run than the Texans are. in my
I
opinion.
think the Colts are the more balanced team, but I think that CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, like that connection is just heating up right now. And I feel like if it's going to be consistent, that's such a huge advantage for a rookie to have so early on in his career. But I think the safe pick is the Colts, but I feel like the fun pick's the Texans.
But the question is, when does Jonathan Taylor come back, and does he actually play?
He has no leverage for how Zach Moss is playing.
I know, but you can't. I think he'd still, get his snaps. He's still better than Zach Moss.
He
There's
is.
no leverage with how Anthony Richardson's playing for running back.
He's just
Yeah.
dumb. Like all the other running backs gave in, and some of them already got injured. And Jonathan Taylor's still trying to hold out, and he knows what happened the last time someone held out an entire season. Le'Veon Bell was never.
Well,
the
he's
same.
just on the pup list right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
yeah,
he
he
is.
So
Okay.
he'll come back week 5.
Oh, okay. So yeah, but like
Indiana leads too in the AFC South. They're 2-1. Every other team is
But-
under 500.
personally, as like Carter said, he was like the fun pick was the Texans, and like the Colts are like the easy pick. I feel like the Colts are also the easy pick, but I think the fun pick is the Cardinals. And I picked the Cardinals for one reason. They've been competitive. They should be 3-0 right now. Even with Josh Dobbs, they should be 3-0. They should have won that game against the Commanders, and they should have won that game against the Giants. I don't know how they gave that up.
That's
But
true. They
The
should be
offense is
2-1
doing
for
their
sure.
thing. They scored 28 points in their last 2 games. It's just the defense. And I really think the Cardinals, if they shrink some wins together, they can compete with teams like the Rams and the Seahawks, and they could be able to sneak out a playoff spot.
I think they're sneaky for sure. They beat Dallas, and Dallas is really good, and they've been competitive in every game. But my thing is like the should part is that's tough. In this league, nothing feels like should. And I mean, I know that with watching my football team right now, because it just seems like one little mistake and the entire game changes, the entire week ahead changes, game plan, players change, coaches change. One play can change everything. Like you said, if Zay Flowers runs it for another 4 seconds, the Ravens win that game. They should have, but they didn't. And
That's why parlay didn't hit.
Huh?
My last leg I needed for my only parlay on Sunday was the Ravens money line. So I feel the pain with you, Andrew.
I do want to bring up also that like Arizona, it's just I think it's tough for I think they're the least likely pick only because I think they have a better chance than Texans, but look at their division. They have San Francisco, the Rams, and the Seahawks. So I don't know if the Cardinals.
The Colts have the best chance to win their division.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Even the playoffs, like the Cardinals will probably still be fourth in their division, even if they're not the worst team in the NFC. Well, they're not. The Bears exist, but even if they're not like a bottom 3 team in the NFC.
Wait, so who was quarterback in the Colts last year? Was it Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was him and what's his
Carson
name?
Wentz the year before.
The thing is the year before, like the Colts, they were good. They made the playoffs. So that's why I'm saying the Colts are like the safe pick, and they're obviously the safe pick in my opinion. Like they were just such a letdown last year. People thought they would make the playoffs. Matt Ryan just didn't have anything left.
Well, they had the wrong thought process. They had the entire team built.
Yeah.
But they just thought if they get these like old quarterbacks that are kind of like on their last limb, or like a guy like Carson Wentz, that was going to fix everything. When all along they should have been drafting a new guy.
Yeah, didn't Phillip Rivers play there a couple years ago too?
Oh,
he did.
Like, I don't know. I honestly think Gardner Minshew, he's pretty good.
Gardner Minshew is good.
He doesn't make.
He's definitely a top 3 backup.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he could start on some teams. I think he should start on the Bears.
He would
start on the Jets.
Yeah.
Start on the Bears too. Yeah, Bears and Jets.
I have a Minshew Jaguars jersey at home.
Can I talk about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
I could talk about him too.
I know. I kind of want to get you mad with what I say here.
I'll tell you how wrong you are.
Back in 2016, 7 seconds left in the half.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The Redskins.
I know what you're talking about.
He's going in to stop the clock, get a field goal, get some points on the board before the half ends, and he kneels it instead. No timeouts. They run out the clock. They don't score at half. That kind of reminded me of what happened the other day against the Chargers. You have 30 seconds.
Okay.
You can just spike the ball 3 downs and you have 30 seconds to score. And I understand like the worry is because you don't want to give the Chargers any time to score because they were going crazy.
I don't think it's that.
Crazy. But I just don't get why you don't spike the ball there and instead you try to run a hurry up play. You force a ball in and it gets tipped and picked.
Well, that ball was fit in perfectly. If you actually Google the picture, that's the second time Kirk Cousins has thrown it to a receiver where the ball is literally in their hands and it somehow ends up in the opposing team's hand. That's not on Kirk at all. I think that's on that's in Hawkinson's hand. Both hands. That's a touchdown catch. Should be a touchdown catch 100% of the time. And it winds up in the Chargers' hand. That happened twice with the Vikings on that Chargers game. And Caleb Evans goes up for an interception to Herbert, bounces off his hands, touchdown Chargers. Hawkinson goes for a catch in the end zone for a touchdown, win the game, pops up in the air, right in Hawkinson's hand, by the way. Interception, game over. Chargers win. This has been my whole thing with the Vikings, and they're 0-3. So I guess we'll go zeros and heroes here. And
I kind of want to attack another one of our quarterbacks after this.
Okay, so my thing with Kirk, and I'll spiel on him because he's been a lot of talk lately about how he could go to the Jets. That's never happening. He's not going to the Jets. He doesn't want to. He has a no trade clause. The only way he goes to the Jets is if his no trade clause magically disappears and the Vikings are like 0-8, which isn't happening. And
knock on wood.
Yeah, I was about to say.
If that happens, someone would have to get injured, I think. I think an injury would have to happen because Kirk Cousins leads the league in passing yards. Jefferson leads the league in receiving yards, and Daniil Hunter leads the league in sacks. You would think it's all
that
those
defense,
guys.
though.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's terrible. Brian Flores decided to call the blitz 40 times. Like Justin Herbert wasn't going to figure that out. My whole thing is with that team is they're 0-3, and their big storyline last year was they were 13-4, and they had 11 wins in one-score games. And if you go and look at their turnovers, how costly they are. They've lost all these games by one score, and they've lost all the games by one score, but they've lost a turnover battle in every single game. That's why you lose games. A lot of people are blaming this on Kirk. They're blaming it on the coach. It's not on that. It's the team in general. You can't turn the ball over. You can't fumble it. And when you think the fumbling problem's over, opening drive, the Vikings are running the ball down the Chargers' throat. Kirk passes the ball once to Hawkinson, fumbles it right away. You can't make that up. You can't make it up. So this team is probably the best 0-3 team I've ever seen in my entire life because they're so competitive, but they find a way to lose each and every single time. So that's just how it is.
I don't know if they're the best. I would say their offense is the best 0-3 offense we've ever seen.
0-3 team? You think Carolina, Chicago, or the Broncos are better?
No. You said of all time.
It could be. I don't know. I don't really know. But that's just me going off of
it's a mad fan being really mad at his team.
I think I have the right to be mad with all the turnovers and how close they've been in every game. It's like so frustrating, especially the Chargers game where you're watching it and an interception becomes a touchdown for the Chargers, and then another another should be touchdown for the Vikings becomes an interception for the Chargers, and that's the game. Jefferson fumbles in the end zone, which should have been a touchdown against the Eagles, which they could win that game too. And the Buccaneers game, which they could also win that. KJ Osborne, ball in his hands, pops up again. And you just look at the stat sheet and you're like, wow, Kirk Cousins turning the ball over in the red zone. It's not on Kirk. It's not. I'm not saying Kirk's flawless. He's clearly not a flawless quarterback, but this team's issues come with turning the ball over, and it's each and every single player. It's not just, the KJ Osbornes and Alexander Madisons. I mean, Kirk's gotten, his fumbles, even though he's blindsided on one, and his left guard smacked it out of his hand in another. And then Jefferson with his fumble reaching for the touchdown. It's frustrating, but this is football. It's a game of literal inches and literal singular plays. So that's just how it is.
But still, why do you think they go hurry up there instead of just spike the ball and you have 3 different attempts with 30 seconds?
Well, what happened was he said, and I don't care. I do give Kirk blame here. I feel like I'm fair with Kirk. I think it's a 50-50 fault with him and Kevin O'Connell, the coach. I feel like he's so focused on listening to O'Connell, and the fans, for whatever reason, are freaking out loud. And you could say, oh, that's on the fans. Kirk Cousins has been in the league long enough to know what to do with the ball in this situation. Okay? I don't care. What's the face?
Oh, I was watching the play, and it was literally right in his hands.
Yeah, no, that's right in TJ Hawkinson's hands. Like,
he's got to catch that ball.
Oh, trust me, I know. And like you'd be surprised that like if you see Kirk's face in the game, he's like he can't believe it. He's like, that's again, like this happens. But yeah, I feel like it's still 50-50 fault because Kirk is so fast with it. But that ball is right to Hawkinson in his hands. It doesn't get more. No one else like that. No one else is making that throw. Like Mahomes is making that throw. He's definitely making that throw. It's like that's what I mean. It's like a Mahomes throw. I'm just going on a tangent right here because
this is like.
It's like it's unbelievable that that's not a touchdown Vikings.
Yeah, he's leading him outside on a hitch route, and then it was just right off the outstretched finger of the defender. It's literally right in the hands. You have to catch that ball. That's
it's this team's been unreal. And the year before they were 13-4. They had 7 wins, and they lost every game 1 score that year. It's like every other year every game's got to be close. Every game's got to bring you in and then let you down. That's how it feels with this team.
I think next week Paul Richardson. He would have caught that.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe he probably would have. He probably would have.
I think next week we should do a most cursed franchises.
It's Vikings, dude. There's a little hour-and-a-half video.
Jets would like to have a word.
The Bills.
Bills. Vikings have 0 Super. It's Vikings Bills. Vikings have 0 Super Bowls.
4 in a row is crazy.
4 in a row is crazy. But Vikings are also 0-4 in Super Bowls too.
No,
I probably have recency bias.
That's not them. That Bills are 4 in a row.
Oh yeah.
But that's my Vikings tangent. I could go on more, but that's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough for me. It's enough for everyone listening. If they lose to Carolina next week, I think there needs to be some serious conversation with where this team is heading. Unless a major injury happens, but still a conversation would have to happen then too.
Okay, wait. I have a quick question. When Bryce Young is healthy, whether it's this week or a couple weeks later, do you start him immediately? Because I honestly think he's got to look behind Andy Dalton a little bit.
They're not trying to win now. You have to start Bryce to give experience. They're not
think
trying
so?
to win this season.
But it's just like proven that like quarterbacks are usually better when they sit behind someone first. Like Tom Brady behind Drew Bledsoe, Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre, even Jordan Love behind Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think that's always true. Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, a lot. It goes either way. Some guys
Yeah, I
you
think
have to
it's
sit
50-50.
down. Some guys you have to play them right away. Like Anthony
Patrick
Richardson, you
Mahomes.
have to play him right away.
Yeah,
He's so like raw. He has to get the experience.
Yeah. But I feel like for Bryce Young, like he already knows what he's doing. And I feel like he should sit behind someone like Andy Dalton.
The only
Well,
reason, if they were trying to win their division, I'd say start Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
But
Andy
they're
Dalton
not
threw
trying.
that ball 50 times.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But he had a good game. He honestly played pretty well.
All right, can I attack Rudra's guy now? I want to do
Yeah.
this. Okay, I'm just gonna start out saying I think after this week, Mac Jones is the dirtiest player in the NFL. Not like when you watch what he did, this is the second time that this man has attacked a man's package. You know? So I don't know. A lot of people when you're just watching the from the regular view, it looks like Sauce just pushes him over for no reason. But when you get the other camera around, you see Mac Jones go down there and just get a handful. So, Rudra, is there any case where
Yes,
you can
yes,
defend Mac
absolutely.
Jones for
Okay,
this?
so
Is he doing a cup check?
how often have you
Max
been,
sack attack.
how often have you been walking around, right? You're just walking in a crowd. You accidentally scrape against someone's business. It happens. It's absolutely normal. It happens.
That was not a scrape. That was a point and grab.
That was a very blurry picture of a hand going like this forwards. I don't know about that.
Oh no, last year, I think it was last year. There's a video of Mac Jones sliding, and he just lets his leg go a little too far up, right into the guy's groin.
Yeah.
That's the second time he's been going after that.
You can't be going after a quarterback if they're sliding. You know the rules. If you're a defensive player, you can't go after a quarterback like that.
Oh
But-
my!
I like it even more how Sauce Gardner.
No, I just
Yeah.
saw something. This. All right, Colin Kaepernick. We can't even make this up. We can't even make that. We were just talking about this. Colin Kaepernick's letter to the Jets.
No way.
He
No
released
way.
a letter to the Jets to join their practice squad. I'm not joking. We were just talking about this.
Because as long as you
Sources
make
close to the Extra Point podcast say.
I just got like the notification on my phone. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, there's
we predicted it.
What's the source? What's the source?
It's Bleacher Report. It's real.
Okay.
Well,
It's
I was saying Colin
100%.
Kaepernick has sent a letter out to all 32 teams, and all of them just put it right to the shredder.
That's fair.
So
Yeah, like
But
there's little points and everything. It says there's his signature, and then there's references at the end. It's Jim Harbaugh, Chip Kelly, John Harbaugh, and Mark Davis.
Hey, John Harbaugh, man.
Hey, I mean, if I was the Jets, I would be considering that in a heartbeat. I just don't know if the NFL would let them consider that.
I think the most realistic guy for the Jets right now is honestly Carson Wentz. He has shown interest. He wants to be on the team, and I
Carson
think at this
Wentz
point in his
can
career,
be very good. So
he can be, but especially if he's like learning from a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Carson Wentz isn't bad.
That might be the worst fall off of a quarterback ever.
Dude,
Unbelievable.
the ACL ruined his ability to be elusive.
But
That was his
why-
whole
he
thing.
was Mahomes.
Why
He was
is that
literally
for him?
Mahomes.
He was
Why is that
Mahomes
for
before
him and not-
Mahomes.
Why is that for him and not other
Another
people?
place,
Other people
yeah.
tear their ACL.
It's just when you watch that 2017 season before Wentz got hurt, his escapability was unmatched,
Like
and that's
Deshaun
where all of
Watson
his
type?
big
It was
that's where
insane.
all of his big plays happened. And
Yeah.
once he tore that ACL, I don't know if that ruined his like mental state, if he was scared to try to do those type of things, but he just became the most sacked quarterback in the league year after year, and he was just never the same guy. I truly believe if he never tore his ACL, I still think he'd be a top 3 quarterback right now.
No, I agree.
They still won the
He
Super
was
Bowl too.
unbelievable.
Everyone's like, yeah,
Yeah.
they only win it with Nick Foles. I'm like, no, Wentz was him.
Yeah.
That
Wentz
year.
was
MVP.
Wentz was literally Mahomes before Mahomes, and no one could tell me different.
I get what you're saying. He's not the Mahomes talent, but they played very similar.
And he
Okay.
just made all the big plays happen. Like
Yeah.
he was special.
He was definitely special. That's sad what happened to him.
So
I would
now
say
let's-
I would say Wentz is more athletic than Mahomes, honestly.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think athletic, but he doesn't have the arm that Mahomes has. He has a crazy
Yeah.
arm, but Mahomes has like Wentz never did like the sidearm stuff as much
Right.
as Mahomes does. He's
But
just
I
like a
also-
straightforward
I
passer.
feel like Mahomes, like, he always had just better like improv ability and like escape.
He's smart. Mahomes is just so
Oh
smart.
no,
Mahomes is
Andrew, look up Carson Wentz escapability 2017. You'll see something.
Carson Wentz
Hold up.
Washington game. You remember that when the entire
Yeah, the
last-
whole team was on him, and he just found a way out.
Yeah.
He was so
I-
nasty.
I think escapability is that actually can be debated pre ACL tear, but
Yeah.
you know, we'll
I
not.
think the only reason Deshaun Watson is still like a quarterback is because he's so good at escaping. And like
Yeah,
his
Deshaun
uptake-
Watson showed up last game. I
He
don't know if you
did.
guys
He
are
played
watching
really
that.
well.
He
Kinda
showed
did.
up.
really well. And that worries me as a Ravens fan, especially being at the game.
You don't want an actual Deshaun Watson showing up. You
Yeah,
want
no, I
like
don't.
a guy who hasn't played in a while.
Yeah. So
I don't want Deshaun Watson
We-
at all.
we talked about the zeros. Let's talk about the heroes.
Are we talking about
Heroes,
the
so
birds? Want to talk about the
current-
birds?
Well, the
Uh,
hero
doesn't look good.
zero we already talked about. We talked about the Vikings. So
We talked. Did we talk about we got the Dolphins? We got
We can talk about the
Niners.
birds. I can talk
Niners
some
and birds. There's two teams in the NFC that are undefeated, and one is significantly better than the other, in my opinion.
I agree.
And which
Except
one's
for-
that?
I'm looking at the NFL power rankings, and the Eagles are actually
The one in the NFC West.
it's not
Here's my take. Right now, I agree with you, and here's the reason. The Eagles are so much better than every team, but they haven't been playing good. If that makes sense.
They haven't.
The
I
E-
agree.
The Eagles have not been playing. They've been playing like 40% of what they're capable of. Jalen Hurts has not been playing good yet. The receivers have been playing good, but they haven't had like that full game yet. And the defense is just starting to get there. So once the Eagles fully start to get going, they're going to be the best team in the NFL by a long shot, I think. Because Hurts hasn't really came together with Brian Johnson, the new OC, yet. I get that. Plus, he was sick this week. I'll give him that. It was a bad day for Jalen Hurts. But once they get going, I think they're going to be unstoppable.
personally, I just think like if the 49ers and the Eagles went head to head, I would have the 49ers winning.
Right now, I would have the 49ers too.
No,
Wait,
no,
But I think
Regardless.
end of the
Regardless.
season.
I mean, even if the Eagles were at full strength,
No.
like the way they're incorporating Debo into the offense as a receiver again, when Brandon Ayuk comes back, they're just going to be so unstoppable with that defense. Like it's insane.
When Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts again, the Eagles are
That's-
going to be
that's exactly what I meant.
unstoppable.
We're with this Eagles team. I mean, oh no, Rudra, you go.
I was gonna say that they have the San Francisco 49ers have one hole on their entire team. They have one single hole, and that is quarterback with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is still a mid-level quarterback. A mid-level quarterback with that offense could take you to the a little better than mid, maybe, but he's
Slightly
he's
above average.
Yeah.
I'll say that slightly
He's
above.
He's not an
average.
elite quarterback that Hurts is capable of being. We've known that he's capable
That's
of being,
true.
where he can elevate the team so much more.
Right, but I think
just
rather
like-
with Brock Purdy.
With those playmakers,
and
like,
with that
you don't
defense,
need that good of a quarterback. Like you just get them the ball in space. Debo can do his thing. Brandon Ayuk can make contested catches. Kittle can do his thing, and then CMC as well. I was just like saying those four names, thinking like, okay, like their offense is pretty good, and then I like thought of CMC, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like their weapons are just absurd. And
DeAndre Swift's no CMC, but behind the Eagles' offensive line, he's a top 5 running back.
he's
yeah, but
really
the
good.
49ers D line gives them a run for their money. They've got Nick Bosa and who's the one? I can't remember.
I disagree with that.
Listen, man, I know
I know.
NFC Championship, the Niners were down 4 quarterbacks. The Eagles' offense still produced on that defense.
The Eagles are a better team than San Fran. That convinced me after I watched both of them play week 3. And I'm not high on the Eagles right now specifically because Jalen Hurts, he doesn't look great. And I think all Eagles fans know that. But by week 8, mid-season, if Jalen Hurts looks like, himself or just a little bit like himself last year, it's Philly by a mile. Jalen Hurts is easily better than Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is not above average. He's average at best. He's limited. And this is not to like completely knock on Purdy. He does what he has to do. But Jalen Hurts is so dynamic. They have two stud receivers, arguably two top 10 guys, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Goddard hasn't looked amazing, but he's still a top 10 tight end.
He hasn't been getting a lot of targets.
Yeah, he's still a top 10 tight end regardless. This is the best O-line in the league.
My
DeAndre Swift is proof of this best O-line in the league.
Yeah.
And I remember everybody saying, Joshua Kelce, start him against the Vikings. That Vikings run defense isn't great. That D-line stinks, which, yes, that's true to an extent. But I don't think it was because that Vikings D-line was so bad. I think it's because that Eagles O-line is so good. And we saw it again with DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift has a hard time finding the hole in the offensive line. He doesn't have to find it because it's wide.
It's right in front of him.
Right in front of him. And that Eagles O-line is just so elite, it's not even funny. I think the 49ers will have a hard time getting to Jalen Hurts, especially with his escapability. And don't get me started on the D-line, too. Jalen Carter is the second best defensive tackle in the NFL right now, behind Chris Jones. I'd say it's Chris Jones, Jalen Carter, Aaron Donald. And this is no disrespect to Aaron Donald. He's getting older, and he's still top three, okay?
Jalen Carter, wait, can I say something quick?
Yeah.
Jalen Carter in 2 back-to-back plays last night, 11-yard sack on the one, and the next play, he forced a pressure. I think it was a dump down to the running back, and he ran back and punched the ball out.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's crazy.
I quite literally
He should have been the first overall pick.
Oh, well,
Yes,
not
yeah,
first overall pick.
He was the most talented player in the
Yes,
draft.
right.
I don't know how Detroit and Chicago were just like, okay, we're fine with Nike. That Detroit and Chicago and Seattle needed him so bad. Good for Philly, though. Good for Philly. Good for them. Because if you're going to let a guy, like, I would take the risk, even if there's, quote unquote issues going on with him. Because you gotta. Your team's ready to win a Super Bowl, and that window is that thing does not stay open forever. Get Jalen Carter. He's an all-pro already in my eyes.
Plus, the Eagles have leadership almost everywhere. So that was like
That's
the
fair.
perfect place for Jalen Carter to end up in our hands because we got Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, even guys on the O-line that are going to straighten him out if he has problems. Jordan Davis is no slouch now. He slimmed down and he's not as good as Jalen Carter, but we thought of him before as just a run stopper. He's getting sacks and QB pressures. Jordan Davis is no slouch.
If Jalen Hurts plays better, like if he plays good, this team's going to the Super Bowl. They are going to the Super Bowl 100%. They're better than Dallas. They have the better quarterback in San Fran. And that a lot of the times in the playoffs, it comes down to which QB is going to show up. And if I had to put my money on Jalen Hurts or Brock Purdy, you know where I'm putting my money, and that's on Jalen Hurts.
So I was actually going to ask, like, do y'all think it's just going to be a rematch in the NFC Championship again?
That's also what I was going to say. It's just two juggernauts. Does anyone come close?
There's 3 teams. It's going to be the Eagles, I think, because I think we're going to get the top seed.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the Niners and the Cowboys again. I think that's the only 3 teams that have a chance going to Super Bowl in the NFC. Everyone else is.
You don't think the Lions?
I was high in the line. I was really high in the Lions coming in, but watching them, they're not at like the level of the other 3 teams.
Thank you. We know Detroit is not that good. They're
11 wins.
Max.
11 wins,
dude. They're not 11 wins. They're not winning 11 games.
11 wins.
Green Bay looks
11
good.
wins. I'd take that 11 win.
Green Bay looks good. Even with Minnesota being 0-3, we know they could still beat Detroit and split with Detroit. So I don't see that team.
He just wants to tell himself that.
No, I know that. When's the last time Detroit? Tell me when Detroit swept Minnesota. Minnesota has the best head-to-head record against Detroit ever. Like that's the best team. Like they literally own Detroit. No team has a better head-to-head record against another team in the NFL.
This year, the Lions will be taken too.
Not all time, but
they won't.
I would say Patriots have a better record
against the Jets.
No, it's Vikings Lions.
I would say in terms of dominance, not straight up just stats records.
Records. It's Vikings Lions. I know that for a fact. And
dominance right now, it's Eagles Giants. Like in the last 5 years, I'm saying not all time, but
okay.
Giants haven't won a game against the Eagles like in the last 5 years.
Dallas Giants.
Well, the Jets haven't lost. No, haven't beaten the
Dallas
Patriots for 7.5 years.
Yeah, 15 games, about to be 16 in some weeks. I don't know.
But Kirk Cousins is going to be slinging in that game.
If I would be absolutely shocked, like jaw dropping on the floor, if he got traded. Like
Well,
they're basically would tell Jefferson, "Good luck, buddy. We don't care about you." That's what they
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
And like I see all the hypotheticals. Why don't they trade Justin? They're not trading Justin Jefferson either. Jefferson wants to win football games, and like it's really hard to do that when you have no defense.
Hey, well, I'll
So-
tell you this. Jefferson will be winning football games next year with Caleb Williams at the helm.
Dude, if the Vikings get Caleb Williams, you'll never hear me shut up. Like I'm telling you, the Vikings O-line is so bad though. So I feel if they got Caleb Williams, there's a chance they could ruin the poor kid.
But that
So
would
is
also-
USC's.
That would.
Oh, speaking of Caleb Williams and them, did you there's a chance that if the Panthers are not good, which they don't look great, but
yeah,
if the Panthers are really not good,
may stay in
Bears
school.
get number 1 and number 2.
They
That'd
love
be
Justin
crazy.
Fields though so much.
But
I-
No one
are
loves
you
Justin
passing
Fields.
on Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb Williams in the same draft?
No.
That's a nightmare for me because that's the same division. But they would find a way to mess it up because it's Chicago.
That's
Wait,
true.
who did the Lions take over Jalen Carter? Other than like just Jameer
It's a-
Gibbs?
Jameer Gibbs.
Did they have
Gibbs,
okay,
traded
yeah,
back.
I thought so.
I'll never understand that.
But
Imagine Jalen Carter and Aiden Hutchinson on your defensive line for the next 6 years, probably minimum.
Yeah. But people were
Yeah,
so
that was
upset
scary.
about like that
Why?
Jameer Gibbs pick.
Then,
But I
then
also
the
feel
Lions
like-
be 11 wins.
People were so upset about that Jameer Gibbs pick, but I just feel like having someone who's that dynamic of a playmaker, like it will never hurt your team picking him early. And you don't want to let a playmaker slip later in the draft. So you just get your hands.
Jalen Carter is going to be a Hall of Famer.
No, probably. Not.
Not probably.
Minted
Like,
week
if
3.
this
of
guy
his
stays
NFL
healthy,
career.
like I'm watching him play. Like
2 Hall of Famers in this draft. That's
it's
crazy.
not fair. It's not two Hall. What do you mean 2 Hall of Famers?
Christian Gonzalez.
Oh,
Can't forget about him.
I thought they talking about Nolan Smith for the Eagles too. I'm like, I don't know about that, but like, yeah, no, Gonzalez looks good, and then Jordan Addison's the best receiver in that draft class.
Oh,
Gonzalez held his own against Garrett Wilson too.
so I just want to say one thing. The best talent in last year's draft, like last year's, not this year's.
No Jalen Carter.
Do you
draft.
think it was Kyle Hamilton?
Dude, don't even get me started with that because you know what our GM did, right?
What?
We were at pick 12.
Oh yeah, you traded it away.
And they traded back, and it wasn't necessarily a bad trade. They got Lewis Seen from Georgia, and he broke his leg in his 4th ever game, and like he just hasn't been the same. And
But
then
yeah,
they got Andrew Booth with that 2nd pick. He hurts his knee in his like 2nd ever game, and now he doesn't play either.
yeah.
Like that's
The
the
best
franchise
best
summed up
pick from
right
that
there.
draft, Jameson Williams to the Lions. He's been doing really good in the last 2 years.
I still don't know if any
That
are
was
better
the
than
Vikings
Sauce Gardner.
trade.
I'm going to
Personally,
be honest.
I just want to shout out Kyle Hamilton. He was the only person to perform in the actual game for the Ravens. 3 sacks from a safety position, 9 tackles, a forced fumble, and 2 tackles for a loss. Like you've never seen that stat
He would
line.
have been the best
Yeah, that's
replacement.
very
for
good.
He would have been the best replacement for Harrison Smith because they play alike.
Oh
they-
yeah, no, he's absurd.
I'm happy
Rude.
he's somewhere good and somewhere that has a competent GM.
But
Rudra,
he
you
did
want
not
to
win.
share your
He-
screen for your tiers?
My tears, I shall. All right.
You know
This
what's crazy
time,
though? Hamilton
it's
did not
special.
win AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Who did?
Because they lost to the Colts.
I think Miles Garrett 3.5 sacks makes sense.
I
Oh.
get it, but I think 3 sacks
you to enable
is more impressive.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it was just safety blitzes.
I
Good.
still think it's impressive.
All right, we have our power tiers for today. So we have got right here new power tiers. These are actually ranked this week. I tried to rank them inside each other as well.
I like it.
As you
I
can
like
see,
it.
there's a lot of switch ups going around because week
Yeah.
2 to week 3, these first few weeks, there's going to be a lot of switch ups and they'll stabilize out. Let's start with the bottom. We got our soul tier. Bears suck. They are the worst team in the league by far. I don't think they have anything going for them. Next up, we got the same spoilers. Cardinals and Texans moving up. They both had very, very impressive games with how they played, and they deserved to be moved up. And yes, they are ranked the way they are. I think the Giants are worse than the Cardinals, and I do think the Texans are better than the teams listed right there. Next up, potential wild cards. Big things are Falcons moving down was one of my more probably risky choices. I don't know if people will agree with that, but I do think with Desmond Ridder at the helm, I don't know how far they're actually going to be able to go. Colts moved up. Anthony Richardson looks great. Not too much explanation there. Playoff teams, let's see here. Cleveland Browns made their way up quite a bit, and that is because Myles Garrett and that defense are showing off, and Deshaun Watson might be a little bit of what he was before. So that alone can absolutely keep them in that AFC North race. But as you can see, AFC North is pretty clearly the best division right there because they got two players in the playoff teams and then one in the Super Bowl contenders. Speaking of Super Bowl contenders, let's see. Dallas Cowboys made their way down and switched it out with Kansas City Chiefs, who had a great performance against an atrocious team, but they did have a great performance regardless. The Cowboys did not have a great performance. They moved down, not enough. It's week 3. You can have a mess up week, but they deserve to move down. Let me know some thoughts, guys.
So personally, I would switch the Titans with the Falcons. And I would also switch the Jaguars with the Rams. But other than that, I think it's a very good power tiers.
I don't think that the Rams are going to, or what's it called? The Rams are on drop watch. Rams are on drop watch, and so are the Titans. I would not switch them with the Falcons, though.
I don't believe in Desmond Ritter enough to put
I
him in
also don't.
potential
That's
wild
what I'm
cards.
He couldn't hit water if he fell off a boat.
But feed Bijan Robinson, please. Like, please. I
Yeah.
also have him in fantasy, so that's why I'm saying that. But
Can you do me a favor for next week? 2 favors. If the Vikings lose to Carolina, move them to their own tier and name it destined for 6 to 7 wins. Because that's what's going to happen, 6, 7, or 8. And then when Green Bay beats Detroit on Thursday, switch Detroit and Green Bay.
Maybe
Detroit beats Green Bay on Thursday.
Maybe bottom tier Caleb Williams watch, the number 1 pick.
Caleb Williams. See, that's what it was last week, but it's just the Bears now. So it's just Bears suck.
The Bears do suck. Yeah.
One little
I don't have any problems with it though.
I think it's good.
You know the week 4 matchups? It's the 0-3 Vikings against the 0-3 Panthers and the 0-3 Broncos against the 0-3 Bears.
Red zone's gonna be
that
atrocious.
Broncos Bears matchup on Monday night is going to be probably the worst game
It's
this
on
season.
Monday night.
That should be banned. It's illegal. Like it should be illegal.
What's the under gonna be? Like 28.5?
That's pushing it. I'm gonna say like under.
It's not Monday
20,
night. It's
under
Sunday at
20.5.
It's
Yeah,
Sunday
Sunday.
at 1.
Sunday at 1.
It probably got flexed.
It
No,
probably did.
Can't flex this early. No.
So I asked you this last week. If you look at the schedule for this week, which game are you each looking forward to the most? Personally, I'm looking forward to Ravens Browns, and I'll be there. But I want to hear from you 3.
This next week, let me take a look.
And I am going to tell you the games they're not too good again.
Well, we said that. Well, this week the games weren't great, but we had a good Chargers Vikings game.
Oh, Dolphins.
Dude, every Vikings game been good, but they lose.
Oh yeah, there's an easy answer here. There's a very easy answer
there's
here.
a very easy answer.
It has to be Dolphins Bills. It
Yeah.
has to be.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Bills are favored
Yeah, I don't know about that.
by 2.5. Like, I know they're home,
think-
but still.
I think
Bills
Dolphins
should
are the best team
absolutely
right
not
now.
be. I saw. Did you guys see? I have Dolphins as the best team in the league right now. Do you agree
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that?
I do agree.
Yeah, after 70 points, yeah, but they're
You
not.
can't argue with a 70 burger.
I feel like I could confidently say I would have Philly or Kansas City winning the Super Bowl over them though at some one point when it comes to that. But right
That's
now,
fair. They do need to show they could sustain it. Last year they were unable to, but obviously that was a little bit because Tua injured. But
game of the week for me, I think is quite obvious, and I think it's Cowboys Patriots because each fan base just thinks they're America's team when no one cares, and not only that, Mac Jones is going to get dominated by Micah Parsons all week, and then or not all week, all game, and then Matt Judon is going to dominate Dak Prescott, so it's going to be who stinks less in that game.
Well, we said Micah Parsons was going to dominate Josh Dobbs. He also said before the game, he goes, Josh Dobbs is my enemy now, or something like that. He did have one sack, but he did not wreak havoc on that game at all, and it really surprised me.
He's gonna bounce back.
Josh
The
Dobbs.
Arizona
legit.
He won
front seven-
Defensive Player of the Week though. Michael Parsons did.
No, not this week.
Oh, I'm looking at a different week.
That
Then.
was last week. The Arizona front seven is like, I'd say they have a really good front seven on both sides of the ball. And that's the reason why they're competitive in games. They're dominating up front.
My game of the week might have to be the Ravens and the Browns. I think that will give us a very, very big insight into the AFC North and how that will shake up, because those are the top two teams, or top two of the top teams in the AFC North. The Bengals are up there, obviously, but these two teams and how they perform will tell us a lot.
Yeah. So should we go to player versus player?
Yeah, who's
Let's do it.
All
who's
right,
doing
so
the player comp?
I'll start with this one. So I got two quarterbacks from the 2022 season. We will be doing player versus player. I will tell you player A, player B, and you will choose which player you would rather have and why. So the first player, player A, played 16 games. He threw for 4,283 yards on 63.3% completion, throwing 14 interceptions with 35 throwing touchdowns.
You put these
I
stats
think-
in the chat if you don't mind.
I think I already know who that is.
Just 4,200 yards, 35 touchdowns, 14 picks. I'm not even going to, and I'll go to the rushing after I do player two. And then player two, 65.
You don't have to do rushing.
Okay. Player two, 65% completion, 4,400 yards, and 29 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. So 7 less turnovers, 6 less throwing touchdowns, 400 less yards, 2% better completion percentage. Who would you rather have?
I mean, you might have to put the rushing touchdowns in because I know who the second. What's the rushing stats?
Wait, it's harder to find.
So the first one obviously made more of an impact, but first one seems like
Okay, the rushing stats for the second player is 156 rushing yards. He also had a quarterback rating of 99.3. And then I can't find the rushing touchdown. Sorry about that. And then the rushing stats for player one is it was 800 rushing yards, and he had a quarterback rating of 96.6.
I know who these are.
Yeah.
I
800
do
rushing
not,
yards.
but I would say player A. Turnovers are a bad stat, obviously, but like having
Is
that
that-
much of an
Is
advantage.
that Josh Allen with 14 interceptions?
Yeah.
And player two, I thought it was Jalen Hurts at first. I knew he had high 20s in passing yardage, but I don't think so anymore because I think he had like 27 passing touchdowns.
Don't tell me number two. It's not Daniel Jones, is it? It's not. Okay.
Wait, but who are you taking first? Player A or player B?
For the first one,
Yeah,
Oh,
I said player A.
Hey,
Damn. Well, player B was Jared Goff.
who's
no.
Allen and Golf?
Josh Allen and Jared. Yeah, I would say Josh Allen over Jared Goff is pretty fair.
But the stats from last year, honestly, it can be taken either way. And
I
if you
think it
watched them
can.
play last year as well.
Yeah,
it
it's
can
because
be
the
taken either way.
turnovers is the.
It depends
we-
how much you devalue
I
turnovers.
just personally think, and I've thought this for the last 2 years, that Jared Goff is the most underrated quarterback in the league.
I think Josh Allen's the
It's-
most overrated quarterback in the league.
It's the rushing yards that really sways me. So maybe
Yeah.
if you didn't say
Right.
the rushing yards, I would go Jared Goff.
yeah.
So maybe I might cut that part out.
Yeah, please. please.
Yeah.
Goff was a more proficient passer. There's no doubt in my mind.
But Josh Allen is a much bigger playmaker, and that's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have my 2 players.
Yeah, go
Too.
go for it.
And this is this year, weeks 1 through 3. So I also
Wow.
sent you guys, if you check your phones right now, you'll see the stats right in front of you. So if that helps you out. So left side's player A, right side's player B. And player A has 27 receptions, 458 yards, 38 targets, 17 yards per reception. Their longest catch is 52 yards. Has 20 plus 20-yard receptions and has 1 touchdown. Player B, 25 receptions, 412 yards, 35 targets, 16.5 yards per reception. Their longest catch was 54 yards. They have 13 20-plus yard catches and 4 touchdowns. Who would you rather have, A or B?
I know exactly who these two
I
are.
know who these two are. I was doing my research.
would, I
Who
would
you rather
Then
have, A or
let
B?
Pat, you go
Well,
first.
I think I'm going player A based off of the 20+ yard receptions. That big plays.
But it's weird because if you know who the players
Touchdown.
are, you would think it's player B who has
That's why I
more
did it.
20+ yard.
I'm going player A. Going
But
in
I'm going
blind.
player A too.
I would go player A, even though I know them.
Player A is Justin Jefferson and player B is Tyreek Hill.
But I would still go with Tyreek Hill.
And you would think that player A is Tyreek Hill, but it's not. And this is just more proof that Justin Jefferson is better than Tyreek Hill.
He is. Absolutely.
Based on the fantasy points of the season with the 4 touchdowns, actually Tyreek Hill is ahead.
Yes. Okay. Fantasy wise, there you go. You got that. You got me there. You definitely got me there. But player in the NFL, I'm taking Jay Jettis.
I passed on Reek for Bijan.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
That's pretty bad.
No,
There's a lot of season left. A lot of football.
Is it regular or dynasty?
It's probably just regular.
Oh no, wait, regular PPR?
No, regular or
no.
dynasty.
No, it's regular. It's regular.
Oh, I don't know about that one then.
A lot of season left. A lot of season.
There is a lot of seasons, so don't worry.
Yeah.
But,
All right, you guys good?
Yeah.
I think that should be all for today.
Wait, does no one else have? Does no one else?
No,
have...
you guys are the ones that.
Okay, and then we just did our week 4 preview.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you're good?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. That was episode number 3 of the Extra Point. This weeks are kind of going by quick.
Yeah.
We have a lot more football to go over, but it's kind of football season's fun, so it goes really fast.
Yeah, maybe when we're less busy, we can start upping the ante a little bit. Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. As the greatest head coach of all time once said, football actually starts in October.
I agree. I totally agree.
I do agree. Because all these good teams from last year, they just haven't hit their stride yet.
Yeah,
So,
Vikings are just about to get started this week.
Okay.
Hopefully they get started at some point.
Carter, before we sign off today, I'll make another bet. The
Oh,
Vikings won't win 9 games.
I have them winning 8, 7, 8, and 9. I think I can't really make that bet.
You don't want to gamble? You don't want to gamble on your team?
No,
I have one bet for you.
My number one rule is don't bet on the Vikings. That's my
Lions
number
versus
one rule.
Packers. That's my one up for you.
Wait, when do they play?
Thursday.
Oh, wait, that's the game of the week.
Yeah.
Lions versus Packers. Which one?
Green Bay. It's in Green Bay. Give me Green Bay.
I got honestly, I got Green Bay. I think.
Oh, what happened? I thought Detroit was going to win that.
I said Lions.
After seeing Jordan Love pull together that comeback, I know he played horribly throughout the game, but after he pulled out that comeback, I'm really high on the kid.
Jordan Love's good. I can't deny it, and I have him and Pat Mahomes in fantasy, so I feel great.
But I saw a breakdown on TikTok, and they were like trying to say like Jordan Love isn't actually all that. Like I'm not like saying he
was
has
missing his left tackle, his receiver one, and RB.
No, but they were like showing that he missed like some throws throughout the game. And one of the throws, he was trying to hit like a hole shot in cover 2 in the middle of the field between the 2 safeties. It would have gone for like a 60-yard touchdown. And he missed it over his head. But if you watch like the receiver run the route, he's running it flat. Jordan Love thinks he's going to run it steep. And that's the only reason why I missed the pass. If he kept running steep, then it would have been a perfect ball, 60-yard touchdown. So like based off that, like I really think Jordan Love is a good quarterback. He's the arm talent, he has the accuracy. And I think he could be a top 15 quarterback when it's all said and done at the end of the year.
I agree. Definitely agree.
I love
anything else.
Little extra Green Bay Detroit Lions content in there.
Yeah.
All right, is everyone good now?
Do you think Jameis Winston can hold the Saints?
No.
No. I don't think Derek Carr can hold the Saints.
Derek Carr looked really good against the Packers. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. That was episode 3 of the Extra Point. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Maybe you watched it. Just want to see the numbers. See you guys.
See you
See you guys.